Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Continue reading about the biography of Gaura-kisora Babaji. This is section 18. It's called Ashtakaliya Leela. A so-called Goswami approached Srila Babaji Maharaj to learn the intimate pastimes of the Lord, called Ashtakaliya Leela, pastimes pertaining to 8 times of the day. The first time he came, Srila Babaji Maharaj told him, "Just now I don't have any leisure time. When I find the opportunity, I will explain it to you." As many times as the so-called Goswami came, he received the same answer. Finally, the Goswami became disappointed and stopped coming. Sometime later, the Paramahamsa remarked, "A person who becomes distressed at the loss of a useless coin cannot possibly learn the intimate pastimes of the Lord. Just by reading a book about Ashtakaliya Leela, real understanding will not develop. One may theoretically understand it, but where will his spiritual body for assisting the Lord in such pastimes come from? The attempt to reveal the Lord's pastimes in ordinary literature has created havoc. When such things are written in ordinary books, such literature simply adds to a rubbish pile which is already heaped high. Everyone is building a high wooden platform 2 stories high. Then, after climbing to the top of the platform, they simply pass stool. So many people come to see me, but none of them are genuine. Before they can understand Ashtakaliya Leela, they'll have to give up bad association, continuously chant the holy name in the association of devotees. If they attempt to whimsically perform solitary worship, they'll be snared by the illusory energy. The name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord are manifested within the association of the devotees. Wretched persons who do not have full faith in the chanting of the holy name are creating an inauspicious situation for themselves by separately attempting to understand such things. Their attempt to worship the Lord is undertaken without proper intelligence. Babaji Maharaj hereby declares that such esoteric subjects, such as Ashtakaliya Leela, Siddha Deha, spiritual body, etc., are not appropriate subjects for discussion with neophyte devotees. Those who have had at least attained to the platform of Ashakti Bhakti, where genuine attachment to Shri Krishna arises, may indeed relish and discuss these topics, having achieved a standard of realization which make such discussion relevant. But those of less attainments are expected to restrict themselves to the reverential glorification of the Lord in the association of devotees. By dint of that process, the spiritual body, Siddha Deha, the Lord's pastimes, form, etc., are all revealed at the appropriate time. Section 19. An unusual bhajan kutir. On another occasion, Srila Babaji Maharaj remarked, "It is not possible to properly worship the Supreme Lord in an outhouse." Having made this remark, he saw that the people in his vicinity could not grasp his meaning, and so he explained, "A house where persons always indulge in eating and sensual pleasure is not a place for sadhus. Such places may appear to be ashrams or temples, but they're the abodes of lust. Sensual life may be permissible for the demigods, but not for devotees of the Lord. Materialistic persons who live in this way imagine they are residing in heaven, but actually they're living in a deep pool of excrement in the form of the sense objects of the material world. However, when those who seriously worship the Supreme Lord take full shelter of him, wherever they reside becomes non-different to Shri Radha Kund, the supreme holy pond of Shri Radha. A few days later, after these remarks were made, the proprietor of a Navadvip Dharmasal named Mr. Girish, accompanied by his wife, came to see Babaji Maharaj. The proprietor's wife very humbly requested Babaji Maharaj to allow them to build a bhajan kutir, a small cottage for worship for him. They remarked that during the rainy and cold seasons he was undergoing extreme hardship in the thatched cottage where he was residing. Hearing this, Babaji Maharaj replied, "No, I'm not experiencing even the slightest hardship, but there is one thing which causes me difficulty. If you will agree to help me, then I will tell you what it is." The couple expressed their eagerness, and so he continued, "Many people come to me with selfish motives. They do not desire their real welfare, and they simply create a disturbance to my bhajan. If you can give me your latrine, it will serve as a favorable place for my chanting the holy name of the Lord. There I shall be able to worship the holy name without disturbance. People will hate to go there. If you cannot do this, then do not disturb me and make me waste my human form of life." On hearing this, Girish's wife exclaimed, "O most revered Babaji, we are prepared to obey your order, your command. But if we let a saint live in our privy, it will be a great sin for us." Babaji Maharaj replied, "I am not a saint. Those who are pujaris where the temple deities are worshipped, or others who keep matted hair and wear tree bark are saints. I'm unable to worship the Lord in a proper way. So a privy is the right place for me. If you can oblige me in this way, then say so. Otherwise, I shall not listen to you any longer." Having no other alternative, Girish and his wife agreed to the proposal and said, "Even if you do not utilize the room adjoining the privy, there will be 2 chambers there for those who serve you." Girish had the exterior of the privy renovated by masons and the interior thoroughly cleansed. Otherwise, the inner structure was left unchanged for fear Babaji would be displeased. Srila Gaura-kisora Das Babaji stayed in the public latrine of a dharmasal to teach people in general that attachment to material affairs under the pretense of devotion is more foul-smelling than excreta. Hare Krishna. Section 20. Unlawful imitation. And wickedness. There was no space in the latrine to accommodate more than one person. Babaji Maharaj used to bolt the door from the inside and chant the holy name of the Lord. Adjoining the privy was a dilapidated chamber. A man named Madhu moved into that room, had the roof repaired with tin, and began to chant in imitation of Babaji Maharaj. One day, Babaji Maharaj called out to him, saying, "What are you doing and what are you contemplating in that room with the door closed? What are you thinking about in your secluded state? He who does not chant the Hare Krishna, the name of Hari, in the association of devotees, free from offense, is not in a position to see anything but the four walls of a room. Are you seeing the surroundings? Are you thinking about desirable women, fame, or material gain? If you remain in that room, then different kinds of rubbish thoughts will assail you. Srila Gaura-kisora, although physically blind, then demonstrated his capacity for seeing by disclosing Madhu's hypocrisy. He informed the hypocrite that he was cognizant of all his secret acts, how he had stolen the money and food which was left for Babaji by others, and how he had gone to various places in Navadvip to indulge in illicit intercourse with women. Eventually, the imitator became the victim of a serious disease. He became so ill that after a few days his friends had to come and carry him away to his house. It has thus been demonstrated how, as a result of offenses committed by the imitation of a Mahabhagavata, one eventually falls down. He taught how worldly people, under the pretense of religious activities, experience only the seeming pleasure of sense gratification, which is compared to living in stool. Srila Babaji Maharaj displayed these pastimes with a view to instructing his followers. Section 21. Desire for scholarship. A brahmachari named Ayatra Punya approached Srila Gaura-kisora Das Babaji and requested him to allow him to perform bhajan in his association. Srila Babaji Maharaj advised him, "You should desist from committing offenses at the lotus feet of Vaishnavas and engage yourself in chanting the holy name in the association of pure devotees." The brahmachari heard this instruction but was disinclined to follow it. Without informing Babaji Maharaj, he went to Radhadesh, introduced himself there as a disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and begged money, saying it was for getting instruction in Shrimad Bhagavatam. Upon returning, he began to study grammar with a learned scholar. He thought that if he could become literate, then he would be respected. He considered that because Srila Babaji Maharaj was illiterate, he could not be very advanced. One day he visited Babaji Maharaj and was told, "You're studying grammar in order to get women and material position." Hearing this, Ayatra replied that he had no such evil desires. He was simply wanting to learn grammar so he could understand Shrimad Bhagavatam. Srila Babaji Maharaj attempted to help him again and told him, "You have been to West Bengal and saw how reciters of the Puranas make their living reciting the Bhagavatam. Therefore you've become greedy and want to fill your begging bowl. If you desire your actual welfare, give up your offensive greed, engage yourself sincerely in worshipping the Lord." The foolish brahmachari once again ignored the good advice of Babaji Maharaj. On yet another occasion, the brahmachari came to Babaji Maharaj and prayed, "Please be merciful to me." Srila Babaji Maharaj was silent for some time, and then he said, "You are thinking of earning your livelihood. Do not try to fulfill your desires in that way." No one present at the time could understand to what Babaji Maharaj referred to. When the would-be reciter left, Babaji Maharaj told those present, "He's having illicit intercourse with a widow." He then instructed everyone there for their benefit, saying, "Do not persuade others to commit sinful activities, and if desires other than devotional service arise in your minds, please come to me before acting and allowing your minds to be changed." By this instruction, Srila Babaji Maharaj indicated that illicit sex is the most abominable and forbidden act. He who externally behaves like a sadhu, but secretly has illicit intercourse, commits an even more heinous sin. (22) Devotion and hypocrisy. A certain Damodar Das came to live with Babaji Maharaj for some time. For this, he gained some respect from the local people. He had originally come from Orissa, where he had formerly been married. Once his former father-in-law came to visit him. The father-in-law was accustomed to go from place to place with a manuscript of Shrimad Bhagavatam in his hand, reciting it as a means of earning his livelihood. Babaji Maharaj had permitted Damodar Das to collect substantial donations from the pilgrims who visit him. Without informing Babaji Maharaj, Damodar Das gave a certain portion of the collection to his father-in-law. The omniscient Babaji came to know of it, and he stopped talking to Damodar Das. Prior to this incident, Damodar Das had occasionally been allowed to boil rice for Maharaj. But after the theft, Babaji Maharaj stopped eating anything touched by him. He reverted to his practice of eating rice soaked in water. Realizing he'd been discovered, the Arissan became terrified, and other associates of Babaji Maharaj became disturbed. The Arissan began to fast from all food and water. When Srila Gaura-kisora Das Babaji was informed of this, he said, "If this worldly person does not leave me immediately, then I will give up my life by drowning in the river Ganges." Shortly thereafter, Babaji Maharaj plunged into the waters of the holy river. Seeing this, the people who were on the scene immediately went to his rescue. He shouted at them, "Leave me alone, don't touch me. If I cannot perform Hari Bhajan, then I will not bear this body any more." The people insisted on rescuing him, however. When he was revived and made comfortable, he asked the people, "Why did you take me from the Ganges? This Arissan has given away all that I have to his father." Hearing this, the people told him they would replace whatever he had lost. They would give him 4 times what the Arissan had given his father, and were prepared to bring the money immediately. Srila Babaji Maharaj told them, "I don't need the money, but I refuse to keep this Arissan in my association. If I live with a hypocrite, then my bhajan will be hindered." Many of the people had thought that the Babaji had wanted to drown himself due to his attachment to money. Now, however, they could understand the truth. He was not attached to money, but he could not tolerate hypocrisy in the name of service. Hypocrisy or deceit is the sole province of Krishna. Only he can exhibit it without sinful reaction. When an ordinary person practices deceit, it's an unlawful imitation of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Gaura-kisora, Babaji, Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Section 23. The enjoying spirit of the materialist. Once, Srila Gaura-kisora Prabhu gave 100 rupees to Srila Saraswati Thakur for keeping. In order to keep it secure, Srila Prabhupada deposited the money in a bank. One day in his absence, Srila Babaji Maharaj suddenly came to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and requested him for the money. The Thakur informed the Babaji that Saraswati Thakur had deposited the money in a bank, and in his absence it could not be withdrawn. Babaji Maharaj declared he needed the money urgently and insisted on having it at once. Seeing no other alternative, the Thakur took the money from his own pocket and paid him. Babaji sent that money to a well-known person in Vrindavan, and having sent it, he remarked, "Considering me a Vaishnava, people have given me money for my enjoyment, but I'm not a Vaishnava. There are Vaishnavas at Vraj. I have sent the money for their service." Whatever money the people have given him in the consideration he was a great Vaishnava, the Babaji had kept, but not for his personal enjoyment. He always utilized any funds he collected in the service of other Vaishnavas. The Babaji said, "Things which are obtained by madhukari, begging, that is, going from place to place for sustenance, like a bee, are transcendental. One should eat what is necessary for sustaining his worship of Hari. If one eats more than he needs, his heart will become contaminated and an obstruction will arise in his worship of Lord Hari. Section 24. In the hope of acquiring wealth. One day, Govinda Goswami of Kulia, Navadvip, accompanied by a person in the garb of a Vaishnav, ascetic, came to Babaji Maharaj and said, Babaji, I have been abroad and have thus not been able to have your darshan for a long time. Srila Babaji Maharaj said, For your bhajan at Navadvip, you have been provided with a large house there, as well as well-constructed latrine. Why have you gone to the trouble of leaving the country? Why have you gone to these other places? At this, the man's friend said, He goes to other places for the deliverance of the people there. If I probably did not go to other lands, what would happen to those people? Hearing this, Babaji Maharaj felt extremely disgusted and remarked, If it is your real object to elevate people of other lands, why do you desire the wealth of a king? I've studied your mentality. You're planning to construct a brick house. If you will only secretly engage in Hari Bhajan and not consider yourself a Prabhu, I will inform Lord Nityananda and you will have 50 brick houses. But you desire accommodations for the material enjoyment of your sons and daughters, and then thus Nitai will provide you with material paraphernalia and deprive you of love of Krishna. If, in the name of liberating humanity, you seek material profit, adoration, and acclaim, you will become fallen. What to speak of being liberated, the people will simply be cheated. Having thus spoken, Srila Babaji Maharaj started chanting loudly and refused to stop until that evening. He cautioned those listening that as a result of an offense to the holy name or an offense in worshipping the deity, one will achieve 3 results: dharma, mundane piety; artha, material opulence; and kama, sense pleasure. These are actually misfortunes for the living entity. Our Guru, Lord Nityananda, cheats Sudha devotees by supplying their material wants, but depriving them of love of God. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Section 25. Gaura, Gaura, not Rupi, Rupi. Once, some people came to Babaji Maharaj and praised the son of a certain caste Goswami for his skill in explaining Shrimad Bhagavatam. The boy always chanted Gaura, Gaura and expressed a variety of emotional feelings. In this way, he made many disciples. In reply, Babaji Maharaj told the people, the so-called Goswami cannot explain the Goswami's literature. He explains sense gratification Shastra. He does not chant Gaura, Gaura. He shouts Rupi, Rupi, my Rupi. As long as he maintains this mentality, there's no question of his performing Hari Bhajan. By reason of his materialistic activity, the Vaishnav Dham remains concealed. It affords no benefit to the world. On the contrary, it creates a disturbance. Section 26. One suffers the consequences of his own deeds. A certain man came to Babaji Maharaj and expressed a desire to learn how to worship the Lord. Hearing this, Babaji Maharaj said, if you can leave aside the association of pseudo-Vaishnavas and a-Vaishnavas and can stay with us always, then you'll be able to learn how to chant the name of Lord Hari. We maintain ourselves by living on remnants of foodstuffs eaten by inhabitants of the Dham. We use rejected earthen pots of the residents of the Dham. We collect and wear discarded cloth used to cover corpses. If you associate with other so-called Vaishnavas or those practicing worldly religion, they will consider you untouchable and reject you, or you will commit the offense of touching them. Hearing this, the young man said, yes, whatever you say, that I shall do. After a while, however, being charmed by the melodious voice of a bhajan performer named Ramdas, who dwelt close by, He joined him in kirtan without Babaji Maharaj's knowledge. The young man also ate so-called prasad with and accepted the gift of a pair of kartals from him. One evening, shortly thereafter, he chanted within the hearing of Babaji Maharaj, playing his new kartals. A few days later, after taking his morning bath in the Ganges, the young man began loudly reciting Vaishnava Vandana within the hearing of Babaji Maharaj. When the young man went to collect alms, Babaji Maharaj called an attendant and said, "He's secretly coming and going to the house of Ramdas. Whatever devotion he is gathering there, he's trying to spread here. In fact, instead of devotion for Lord Hari, he's amassing sinful reactions." Hearing this, someone said to Babaji Maharaj, "Who has informed you of all these things?" Babaji Maharaj replied, "By hearing his chanting and his manner of reading Vaishnava Vandana, I've been able to analyze him. He will not be permitted to stay here anymore. If a man takes the bad association of counterfeit Vaishnavas or non-Vaishnavas, he will never follow any beneficial instruction. He will only learn hypocrisy." After this incident, the young man, without informing Babaji Maharaj, suddenly left Puri. Sorrowfully, Baba Maharaj said, "The boy has been misguided. He was tempted by unsanctified food and other things. I was not able to protect him. The jiva is independent and reaps the results of his own deeds. Inspired by Krishna, he came to me, but he secretly associated with others and invited great danger. Now he will garb himself as a Vaishnava ascetic." In this way, the ill-intentioned persons of this world assist ordinary people in assuming the garb of devotees and turning them into fools. Hypocrites who receive obeisances from others and are greedy for good food assume the guise of Vaishnavas. Their pretentious chanting of the holy name is nothing but the noise made by frogs. The more they croak, the sooner they will be swallowed by the snake of material enjoyment. About a month later, the young man returned to Navadvip. He had assumed the dress of a religious mendicant. Accompanied by the Mahanta, head priest of a nearby ashram, he came to see Babaji Maharaj. After offering obeisances, the Mahanta said, "Your disciple has returned from Puri. He's become an advanced Vaishnava and thinks himself fortunate. He served Haridas Thakur and is performing bhajan on the platform of spontaneous devotion." At this, Babaji Maharaj said, "I cannot determine what sort of disciple of mine he is. In this world, I do not see anyone as a disciple. I have not been able to become a disciple. Therefore, how can I be expected to be the spiritual master of others? If one artificially assumes the garb of a Vaishnava, what sort of Vaishnava will he be?" The noise created by frog-like hypocrites is neither Harinam nor Hari Bhajan. The show of spontaneous devotion of such frog-like people is for achieving the happiness of sense pleasure. They cannot enjoy such happiness for long. The black snake of material enjoyment will swallow them. It's not so easy to serve Haridas Thakur. Why are you spoiling your life in the dress of a Mahanta? Why don't you leave all this aside and chant the holy name with purity?" To the stern Keri, the Mahanta replied, "I have no material motive in taking up this position. It's only for the welfare of the Bhajan ashram and for service to the Vaishnavas. This area was overgrown. I've cut down the tangle of vegetation and tidied the area." Hearing this, Babaji Maharaj was extremely mortified, and he refused to talk with the Mahanta. When the Mahanta left, Babaji Maharaj told those nearby, "This ascetic person has informed me that he has cut the wish-fulfilling trees and creepers of Navadvip. Alas, alas, just see, it grieves us to cut even a solitary dry tree of Navadvip. These trees and plants are our eternal friends. They assist Lord Gaura in his eternal pastimes. These cruel persons never achieve the qualification to perform devotional service to Lord Hari. By making an outward show of being a Vaishnava, they bring misfortune to themselves and to others as well."